Professor Mike, how are you, sir?
Good, Tino. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, Professor. Man, everybody, Professor Mike Bruner. Did I say that name, your last name right?
Yeah, you did, man. Thank you. Yeah.
Professor Mike Bruner from GB Avondale. Man, I'm so excited for you to be here, brother.
I'm excited too. Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. So, man, there's so much to talk about. We're such a unique time period right now. We're going to be opening up this Saturday. Man, how do you feel about that?
Man, I couldn't be more excited. You know, I've been emotional twice in the last 2 months, man. It was the day that we got the news that we were going to close down, or not really close down, but go away from in-person training.
Yeah.
And then the day the governor said you can come back to in-person training. So 2 days I got emotional, man. Let me tell you, it's a roller coaster in between, but those were two real extreme highs right there. Yeah, real extreme highs. Just
I bet, man.
High, I should say.
I bet, because like technically, how long has your school been open for now?
So we were open 2.5 months the day it closed down.
Man.
Actually, two months, 1 week.
Man, that's going to be a huge subject we're going to get into. But first, man, let's tell all the students of Gracie Barra who you are in your jiu-jitsu journey. Man, I'm interested myself to hear about your jiu-jitsu journey. So, man, take us back to when you first started training jiu-jitsu.
Oh, jiu-jitsu. So jiu-jitsu, 11 years ago, I started training in California, a town called Bakersfield, with an instructor named Tommy Little. The academy was called South Valley Jiu-Jitsu. He was a black belt under Huron Gracie.
Okay.
So he used to train at the Gracie Academy in Torrance. Even though he lived in Bakersfield, he traveled down there quite often to train, and he brought it to Bakersfield. And I started with him about 6 months after he opened his school. He used to do a bunch of training in the garage. We started. It was a pretty hardcore school, man. It was one of those schools where you came in and they'd run you in the ground to see if you'd make it. And
yeah,
first few months were always the hardest, but I learned a lot there, man. I was there for 6 years. They were my family. I love those guys. I still talk to them almost every day. But I had an opportunity to move to Arizona when I just got my brown belt in California. I had an opportunity to move to Arizona, and I took it, man. I moved here in I waited about 3 months before I started looking for a school, and started training in a couple academies that were real far from my house, and I liked them. It was just too far. And then, man, by just luck, I ran across Gracie Barra Scottsdale, and it had only been open like 6 months. And I went in there. I talked to Andre, and I fell in love, man. I fell in love. And I remember the first day I met Flavio. Everyone just treated me with open arms. When you walk into a place as a brown belt, you kind of feel like they're going to treat you differently. The other schools did, man. They did. But, man, Gracie Barra has always been open arms to me, man. And I found a home. So then once here, we opened North Phoenix. We opened Phoenix and Peoria. And then I got my black belt, and I figured, man, we need to bring something to the Southwest Valley. So here we go.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I have to ask, Professor Mike, man, what made you decide to train jiu-jitsu just 11 years ago?
Oh, man. So that's a great story. I got into it. Well, I initially gotten into it because my oldest daughter wanted to do like kickboxing. She wanted to get into kickboxing. So I took her to this one place this guy knew and signed her up, and she lasted about a week before she wanted to not do it anymore. And so I had this membership, and the guy there was like, well, why don't you just train? So I was doing some of the kickboxing, and I had done martial arts for like 12 years. And I really wasn't looking forward to getting back into that. So he's like, why don't you try one of the jiu-jitsu classes? And it was an MMA school, so they weren't real big on jiu-jitsu. But I did, man, and I loved it. Well, then our membership fell out, and I stopped going, and the economy crashed. I had no money. And then the best friend of my old instructor stopped by my house one day. He's like, man, you got to just go try this school out. Just go try it. I'm like, dude, I don't have any money. He's like, dude, just go, and we'll work you out a deal. And so I went, man, and I never quit. I signed up that first day. I think my first class was with Huron or Henry Gracie, and I got to roll with one of those guys. And I just remember feeling so dominated. Like he put my hand, got me on my back, and he put my hand behind my back, and I was like, this is just insane. And I'm like, sign me up, bro. Sign me up.
Man,
Yeah,
that's so cool.
and I trained. That was when I didn't start training until I was 38 years old. God, I wish I'd gotten into it when I was in my 20s.
Yeah, that's all of us. Everybody who's done jiu-jitsu always says the same thing. We wish we would have done this, earlier in our lives.
Crazy story is, so I did karate from like the age of 8 till I was 20.
Okay.
And the Gracie Academy was like 4 miles from my house.
Oh, wow.
And that was, jiu-jitsu back then was wasn't very well known. This is in the late 80s, and I thought, I looked up doing it, and it was super. I was like paying $35 a month for karate, and this was like $100 a month back then. I was like, there's no way I'm paying $100 a month to train martial arts. So I never did it, man. But God, if I got into it when I was like 19, where would I be now?
Man, I wonder how many people have that same story where they either saw the price or like, man, jiu-jitsu doesn't work, and then now later they're like, God.
Yeah, this was in the late 80s. Early 90s, and man, jiu-jitsu was just starting to pick. I don't even think there was a UFC then,
And
so I don't think the UFC started till the 90s.
Yeah, 93, I think.
Yeah, so it was very no. The only reason I really knew about it was because of the academy was right around the corner from my house.
Man, so you said that you did karate when you were 8 years old. So what made you get into karate?
I started younger than that. I started with like a Chuck Norris school, and then we lasted a couple of years, and then it closed down. And then I found this school in Gardena, California that I trained at, and I was there for like 12 years.
So what got you into the martial arts?
Huh?
What got you into martial arts?
My dad wanted us to do it, man. He wanted us to be able to protect ourselves. We were always the smallest kids. I was literally always the smallest kid in my school.
Okay.
And he just wanted us to be able to protect ourselves. Mm-hmm. So instead of regular sports, I did jiu-jitsu 6 days. I mean, not jiu-jitsu, karate 6 days a week. Competed every weekend. I did karate Monday through Saturday, and we competed every Sunday.
Man, what was those competitions like?
They were fun. As a kid, it's a little less contact and stuff. It's more like katas and, your weapon forms. But as you get older, the competition gets a little bit harder. You start doing like full contact fights and stuff. It's fun, man. It's fun.
That's awesome. Man, so have you ever competed in jiu-jitsu?
Oh, yeah. I did lots of competitions in California.
Okay.
My last tournament I did was here in Phoenix. Didn't do very well.
Well, I'm just curious because I've never competed in karate or done karate. Is the competition for karate and jiu-jitsu the same?
Totally different. Yeah.
How so? How so?
Well, like in karate, there's you can compete with just like forms, which is like your kata, and then there's weapons where you do a series of moves, with weapons.
Wait. Like you and another guy?
No.
Oh.
And they have showmanship competition where like you do a fight scene acted out. And,
okay.
Do that. And they have fighting. There's one-on-one fights, sparring. But it was it's contact, but you weren't really allowed to hit in the face at a young age. It was all body shots, so it's really just a bunch of kids going in there and banging it up, and then the referee calls a point, and you restart.
Man, that's
fun. Man, there's a lot of experience. I don't regret it at all, man. It was a good part of my life for many, many years. Taught me a lot of discipline, respect, everything that goes along with martial arts, Yeah. Kept me in the most amazing shape all the way through high school. And then when I got my 20s, friends and parties were way more important. So.
And so if you had to look back at your whole martial arts, journey from as a kid to when you made jiu-jitsu, did you bring anything, I guess you would say the discipline, but is there anything else you brought over and that?
Man, I just think that the discipline and knowing that to never quit. My dad always instilled in us that when we were going to karate, there was some times we wanted to take on soccer, and I did soccer, did a little bit of baseball, but he always instilled you can never quit. You can never quit because you're striving to get to a certain point. The black belt obviously is like the ultimate goal, right? Yeah. You can't quit. If you quit at purple, if you quit at brown, you're going to be saying, God, I'm so close to getting to black. So you never quit. You keep going, you keep training hard. But you never, ever, ever quit. So I think never quitting was a big part of what I brought over to jiu-jitsu because, I don't know, what is it? 1% of people make it to black belt.
Yeah.
You know, because they get to a certain level and they think they've mastered enough and they could quit. You know, I always knew that I was going to, once I started, I was going to see it all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, the work ethic, you got to work hard,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in jiu-jitsu, you get out of it what you put into it. So I've always been a big believer of training hard.
That's awesome. Now, when you came to Arizona, is that you had your own business or?
No, I didn't. I had my own business with a partner in California.
Okay.
When I wanted to leave California, I left that business and came out here looking for a job.
So how was it, you know, because tons of students, as you know, because you have students who are like this, have a full-time job and training jiu-jitsu. So, I mean, for you, I mean, you're a dad too. So, man, where did you find all those days? I couldn't imagine, like, oh. Like,
man, you know, I'm lucky, man. I think I'm lucky that my wife is so supportive of my jiu-jitsu. You know, it was never, ever question like, hey, babe, I worked a full day, but I'm going to stop at jiu-jitsu on the way home and I'm going to train for another 2-3 hours. Never. It was like, no, you got to come home and help me with the baby, or you got to spend time with the family. No, it was never like that. So she knew it was important to me and she's always been supportive. I've been lucky that way. But yeah, it takes, you know, training jiu-jitsu, training martial arts takes a big chunk of your day. Yeah. Big chunk of time, especially if you're consistent, which I feel I've always been. You know, I've never been a guy that just once or twice a week. I try to always be there, you know, 3-4 days a week, training, or as much as my body allows me to.
Yeah. No, well, because that's interesting. I mean, what kind of goal did you have when you started jiu-jitsu 11 years ago? And then when you started jiu-jitsu again here in the Valley, I mean, what was your goal that you wanted?
I think originally, man, my goal was just to learn the art and get in better shape. I was really overweight, man. I was really overweight, and I was into some pretty bad extracurricular activities when I first started jiu-jitsu. And I knew that jiu-jitsu was like the way out of that.
Okay.
I lost, I don't know, 50 pounds doing jiu-jitsu. Nice. So it was a lifestyle, the healthy lifestyle, the losing weight, being active, all that. And I needed a hobby, man. I needed something to do to occupy my time, you know, and that's what it gave me.
That's so awesome, because it seems like a lot of times for teenagers and kids, I mean, as well, that jiu-jitsu, that lifestyle itself, does that exact same thing all day, every day for our students, is to bring them into, you know, man, there's so much to say about jiu-jitsu, the overcoming the hardships, learning, respect, the discipline.
It's amazing, right?
100%.
It's like when people, you know, so many people say jiu-jitsu changed my life, and I literally can say jiu-jitsu changed my life, but it sounds so cliche when you say it, like did it really? You know, yeah, it does. And so many people say it because it's not just a martial arts. It is a lifestyle, and you don't realize it until you get into it, you know?
100%.
So yeah,
man. So it's just such exciting for me, because you went from, you know, moving here, trying to find a job, to actually training jiu-jitsu full time, still supporting your family. And now you open up your own gym. And your own Gracie Barra, man, that's an inspiring story within itself.
It is, man. It is. I started training. I've started thinking about opening my own school, like, I don't know, 2 years after being here. And it was just like I don't know, just like, it'd be cool to open a Gracie Barra school. Never really even thought it would be possible. And then, you know, you do the ICP and you learn so much about the backside of Gracie Barra, you know, and all that. And I think it was like halfway through my first time doing ICP, I was like, man, I want to be a school owner. And that was my new goal, you know, to be a school owner. And then when Professor Dan said, hey man, you're up for your black belt, I knew it was go time from that point on. Like, if I'm going to do it, I got to do it now. I hated my job at the time. I was like, man, if there's ever a time to do it now. Yeah. And I did, man. I went full in, and man, best thing I've ever done.
Man, that's so cool, because also too, during this whole, since you've been barely brand new open, and then this virus hits, man, and you were still able to keep the school running and still be there for your students. So what's been your motivation to do all that?
Man, I think I think the big thing was being able to continue to train with my students and bring jiu-jitsu into their house. Especially the kids, man. The kids, when you turn on the computer and the Zoom and their eyes light up, you know, and they're excited to be there, and you bring in such a great thing to that family. You know, their kids are getting exercise. They're still learning jiu-jitsu. They're interacting with each other. That was really inspiring to me. Really, I mean, I know it was good for them, but it was also good for me. Every day I looked forward to doing a kids class. And then the adults, man, it took a while for the adults to realize what at-home training was going to be like. And I think a lot of them that stuck with it and did it are finding out that they're in much better shape now than they probably were when we were doing live training.
Wow.
You know, I think you know, the solo drills, the cardio, the Baja Fit, and all that we're bringing to the game now, or to their homes, is just unbelievable.
Man, that's so cool. And man, I have so many questions, and I don't even know which order. You know, so let's talk about real quick, because I definitely don't want to miss this history with you. How long has it been now since you've been a black belt?
It's a little over a year.
A little bit over a year, so still like a brand new kind of a black belt.
Still a white belt, black belt, yeah.
So how did, you know, you said Professor Dave told you to be a black belt. How did you?
Oh, Dan, Professor Daniel.
Oh, Dan. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Dan.
Yeah.
Told you're going to come up for your black belt. How did you feel? And Matt, tell us about when you got your black belt.
I think the first words out of my mouth was, "I'm not ready." Which you never feel ready for any of your belts, right? Like when I got my blue belt, I felt that way. When I got my purple, I felt that way. When I got my brown, I felt that way. And you always have to tell your students the same thing too. That like, you always have to let them know, like, it's not your decision. You might not feel ready. I see you're ready. You know. And he told me the exact same thing. He's like, "Man, it's not up to you. It's up to me." And I was like, "All right." My hands are behind my back. Yeah, it was overcome with emotion, you know. And I think I cried the whole way through my black belt promotion in front of everybody. And you know, it's an accomplishment, and I don't know, man. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Man, and that's so cool because, you know, you hit it right on the spot. I think every belt that everybody's ever gotten, like, man, I'm not really. For me, when I got my blue belt, I got my purple, and then now the brown, I'm like, I'm not ready. And me and you have been in the same competition classes where we go with these younger guys. Yeah. And speaking from just myself, I'm like, oh, I am not ready.
Yeah. You know, I'm much older. It took me a long time to stop comparing myself to other people. And we tell our students the same thing too. Don't compare yourself to other people. But that's why I love going to those competitions class too, because I can roll with those younger kids and they whoop on me all the time, you know. But it's good training, you know. It's really good training that we can all train together and do jiu-jitsu together, regardless of age or whether you're better or more advanced or whatever, you know. We can all train together. That's another great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, so let me ask you a question, because I'm sure you probably had these conversations with some of your, you know, with your belts. As I'll ask, you know, what does it take to be a good jiu-jitsu fighter, or what does it take for me to get good at jiu-jitsu? So what would you tell, because I mean, your school's still brand new, you know, I'm assuming that you have a bunch of white belts. You know, what's that talk that you give them?
Man, I tell everybody the same thing. Like, you know, when someone asks you, how do I get good at jiu-jitsu, right? You hear that a lot. Hey, I want to get good at jiu-jitsu. What do I need to do? It's not a move. It's not a, you know, anything. It's just keep training.
Okay.
Just keep showing up and putting forth the effort. Because if you do that, you're going to get better. There's no secret, right? You know that. There's no secret. Maybe you can get a little bit more flexible. Maybe you can do a little bit more weight training. But if you train every day, or as much as you possibly can, you're going to get better. That's it. There's no secret, you know. And try to always just be better than you were the day before. That's it. Learn something new every day. That's all I tell my students.
Yeah, that's awesome, because then now you're living proof, because, I mean, for all of us in Gracie Barra, to this virus, we never knew how to do these virtual classes, right? So it's constantly open-mindedness.
Always, man. You're always learning. What an experience this has been, you know. I'm training more than I ever trained before. You know, our cardio's on point right now because of all the classes we're doing. I knew eventually I'd want to do Baja Fit at our school. It forced me to start doing the Baja classes here at the school and learning how to teach those. Yeah, and then being able to teach somebody jiu-jitsu without the physical contact, like being there to like move their hands or tell them, move your right leg or your left leg, that was a learning experience, man. And I know it was for all the professors. Yeah. You teach, you understand it. It's so different when you can't be right there with somebody to like help them or show them a certain angle, So it's been quite an experience, but it's taught me a lot. I'm a much better, twice the instructor I was when this whole thing started 2 months ago.
That's awesome. So what do you think that once these classes start coming back, what do you think you're going to be able to take away from this whole virus?
That if you keep pushing forward and if you keep trying to bring value to your students, you're going to make it through.
So awesome.
I think what Gracie Barra did through this COVID thing is nothing short of remarkable. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I don't know how other schools are doing anything. I don't think anyone's doing what we're doing. It made me proud to be part of this team, but it didn't come with, just trying to do minimal stuff. Everybody worked really, really hard. The whole GB North America, whole GB Arizona, everybody put in a lot of hours to make it through this thing. So we're not done yet, man. No. We're not done yet. We're just starting back at in-person, no contact classes, which is a process. I think everyone this week is spending the last few days touching up the school and preparing and getting the mats ready. And it's been nonstop, man. Me and G we're working hard, man. Working hard. You've been at Peoria, so it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
it's not just unlocking that door again and saying, "Come on in."
It is, and I'm so excited because to be such a part of a strong team. Because you've been in all the meetings too that we've had, our corporate meetings.
Unbelievable, huh?
And just the support that we have, and just the leadership of Professor Flavio, I'm convinced that guy never sleeps.
I don't think he does, man. I don't think he does, dude. I don't know how he does it, man. But man, he's the man behind it all. He inspires all of us. He's the one that we look up to. So he runs at a different level than we do. Yeah, but we owe him a lot. We owe him a lot. Very thankful to be part of this team.
So when are you guys planning on opening, or is that still being talked about?
Nope, we're opening Monday.
This Monday.
We're opening Monday. We're set to go. We did a deep clean. Well, we've been deep cleaning almost every week here, just keeping the place up tight. But we disinfected everything this week. We've got the mats all squared off so everyone has their own space. We rearranged the furniture so nobody can sit closer than 6 feet apart. Every station on the mat has their own little cubby they can sit and bench so they can sit on and put their shoes in water. We've marked off a bathroom. Just everything's ready to go. Hand sanitizer stations, temperature checking, you name it. We've thought about it and we're implementing it. So we're excited, man. We're excited. What's crazy is we did our schedule last week on Club Ready, and we're not allowing anyone to sign up until 4 days before the class, right? 4 days. It's 4 days out you can sign up. And I think we're almost full for Monday.
Man, that's amazing.
Today was the first day they could sign up for Monday, and it's boom, already taken off.
Man, everybody's excited to come back to you, Professor.
Everybody. Well, I don't know, man. I don't say everybody. I know we've got a few students that are gonna wait it out a little bit, But that's okay. I totally respect that. But yeah, we've got some people that just want to touch the mat again, get their feet on the blue mat and be here with us. So and we're excited to have them.
Let me ask you kind of a deep question.
Yeah.
Coming from a student's perspective now, what do you think is going to change? The huge change is going to be before the virus and now after the virus. What's something that you could think about if you were a student during this? What would be the difference?
As far as being here and training, or?
Yeah, what would you take away? Because for me, if I wasn't working for Gracie Barra, if I was a student, I'll be like, man, Gracie Barra has been giving me all this access, all these tools, all these professors, everything to keep me motivated. You know, what do you think is going to be something big that students are going to take away from Gracie Barra during this virus?
That we never quit bringing them value. We never quit being there for them, I think is the thing. You know, even the students that were going through some really hard times and not even able to pay a membership or even a freeze fee, we supported them. You know, we shot them messages. We always checked in on them. You know, we've never stopped supporting any of those people. And I think people understand that. And what's funny now is, you know, a lot of the people that are signing up for classes on Monday to come here at the school are people that weren't even doing the online stuff.
Oh, wow.
You know, they just want to get back in the school.
Yeah.
You know, so, and some people are like that. You know, I think it's much more motivating to be training here at the school than it is in their family room, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool to see people ready to go and get back to it.
I think it's so funny because during the whole time we've been trying to figure out how to keep students motivated. And I'm sure you guys get the same thing. I'm sure your PD Guillermo's got the same thing. Like, oh, I'm just going to wait till the school opens. And man, it's hard to say, you know, which is the right call. I mean, should you be, for me, the right call is to be training jiu-jitsu nonstop. But man, to have the schools open now, and it's going to be a little different. You know, a lot of people are going to, you know, miss the rolling part, you know, sparring part. But I mean, what would you say to somebody who says, you know, I'm still going to wait because there's no sparring, I'm going to wait? What would you tell them?
Yeah, it's just, you know, it's funny you say that. I had a text message from a student, a Peoria student, actually today, I used to train with. He hasn't trained in a while because he's been injured, but you know, we still talk quite often. And he's like, man, what's that in-person, no contact class going to be like? That kind of like goes against everything that jiu-jitsu stands for. And I was just like, you know, with the solo drills and the cardio that we're doing and the muscle memory that we're putting in with the solo drills, you can't beat, you know. And you got to make do with what you have, you know. Of course, we all want to be training with partners right now. We all want to be free training. We all want to be specific training, but we can't. So we're going to make the best of what we got. And that's, you know, solo drills, maybe training with a family member. And if you don't want to be here, we're still offering it online.
Yeah.
That's another big thing. You know, we're going to offer the online stuff for months to come. So.
Man, and I bet they're going to be kicking themselves in the butt when they come back and everybody's cardio is like they never left.
Man, we've been saying that, man. We've been trying to tell our students, like, don't be that guy that comes back and wishes they kept up with their cardio. You know?
Oh, man.
You know, it's a little different. My school's a little different, you know, because everybody was still pretty brand new here, you know. Yeah. Which I'm very fortunate, too, that with all these brand new students, they were so loyal.
Yeah.
You know, they were so loyal to the school and stuck with it, you know, because, you know, 2.5 months into your jiu-jitsu journey, you never knew. I didn't know. So, man, we were super fortunate. We have a great team.
I want to talk to you a little bit because out of all the Valley, you're the newest school, right? And I know other students who train eventually someday they want to open up their own school. So, man, talk us about the process of what was the final, you know, decision that made you say, okay, I'm going to open it. How did you look for the location? How did you go about all this?
Man, that's a story in itself. So when I decided I wanted to do it, obviously the first thing you do is you call up Professor Dave and say, hey, Dave, can we talk? You know. So I went to Professor Dave. We sat down and we had a meeting. And I think originally my first area, I told you this before, Surprise, I wanted to do out there off the 303 and, you know, North Surprise. And then I was speaking with an investor, which was my brother's best friend. And he had mentioned like Goodyear. And I thought, wow, wait a minute, that's actually a pretty good idea, you know? So I just started doing some research, man, plugging in, you know, demographics on the computer, and I realized that this was going to be a better area, and I actually wanted Goodyear, the Goodyear area. Of course, we're in Avondale. And so the process while I'm negotiating with my investor and all that, I started looking at areas, and there was nothing available in Goodyear. It's growing so fast. There was no retail space available for me to put a business. So we're located right across the street's Goodyear, but we're in Avondale.
Okay.
And we're North Avondale. It's a really beautiful area. And it's an old martial arts school. So when I seen it,
wow,
I was like, oh, this is perfect. Man, and long story short, the investor fell through, or I guess, I guess it fell through. And I thought my dream was over. And my brother said, no, man, we're not giving up. You're going to follow your dream and we're going to make this happen. And so I got some loans, and here we are, man. Got some loans, signed some agreements, and that was about 6 months in the works before we actually opened the door.
So it took 6 months for you guys to actually open up the school, and I mean,
could have been less. It took a long time. The negotiating and the signing the franchise agreement took a long time. I think too in the beginning, Gracie Barra was redoing their franchise agreement, so there was a month or so delay with that. And I took a long time signing it because I couldn't get an agreement with my investor, and so there's always setbacks. Yeah. And there's always setbacks. There was probably 5 or 6 times where I thought it wasn't going to happen, and with my wife's support, my brother's support, and my mom's, it happened, man. Yeah, it happened. The day I opened up, I still was pinching myself. I'm like, this can't be real.
Because who gets to do what they love to do and all day, every day, man? It's insane.
Yeah, it's still. I wake up every, when I had my old job, you work up 9 to 5, and you wake up and you're kind of like, oh God, I gotta go to work. It's kind of weird, man. Sometimes I still wake up thinking like I have a job like that, like then I clicks in. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm going to jiu-jitsu today. Like, my wife gives me crap all the time. She's like, I'm not your job.
It's so funny because I speak about this to a lot of people who ask me, what's my job, and I tell them jiu-jitsu. Like, oh, that's not a job. Like, what do you do? And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, these are 10, 12-hour days that we put in, and people are shocked to hear how much. I don't know about other jiu-jitsu academies. I don't. But I know for Gracie Barra, every instructor is 10 to 12 hours a day at the academy to make sure everything's perfect.
Yeah. We work a lot, man. We work a lot. But it's super rewarding, man. It makes every minute you're here rewarding, When you're teaching things to people that are impacting their lives, I mean, what's better than that?
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything better than that. When I grew up, man, this is crazy. When I grew up doing karate, the karate instructor was like, I used to always say, like, he's like a second father to me. I really looked up to him, and he was hard on us. It wasn't just one of those schools that you got your black belt in like a couple years either. It took me 9 years to get my black belt in karate. Wow. And he worked us. He was hard on us to teach us the lessons we needed to learn. And he was like a second father to me. And I could kind of see, the kids kind of looking at me that way, and so, I need to live my life right so I can be an example to them. I need to be, a mentor to them, teach them the right things in life, and, make sure they're going down the right path. And it's just, man, it's just so awesome to be able to be that person.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And it's
even adults too, man. You don't know, like, some people might come in here and who knows what they're going through in their personal life, and we could be that escape for them here. And I'm sure we are. I mean, I don't, not everybody tells you their life story, but I'm sure we are, maybe they're struggling with alcoholism. Maybe they're struggling with overeating, or who knows, just depression. And we are their hope throughout the day, their inspiration throughout the day. It's awesome, man.
100%.
Nothing I'd rather be doing.
For sure. And it's funny. It's because like sometimes when, I get to the academy, like in Scottsdale, I was busy the most. I was there like 8 in the morning till 8:30 at night, 9 o'clock. And I would leave and I'm like, man, that was a long day. And I'm like, if I didn't love jiu-jitsu, I would be so miserable.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, that a lot of people are not fortunate to find their passion.
Right.
But I've noticed also that a lot of people who do train jiu-jitsu, this is like a way that they flow to naturally find their passion and find to pursue that happiness in their lives.
It is, man. It is. Fortunately for me, I wasn't in a super bad place when I started jiu-jitsu. But a lot of people are. A lot of people are, and this really turns lives around.
For sure.
And then, yeah, like you said, there's a work ethic that you need to have to stay in jiu-jitsu, and hopefully that transcends to people's lives. Maybe they'll work harder in their relationship. Maybe they'll work harder at, whatever, their work, because this brings that to them.
So, I mean, the biggest benefits, you told me from your story, which I loved, was, losing weight, right?
Yep.
Basically, that never quitting. What else do you think you took away from jiu-jitsu before having your own school, and now what are you taking it from it? Hey, man, there's no easy questions here, brother.
I know, man. I know. So I'm just trying to understand the question. So things that I've taken away from jiu-jitsu before I had a school.
And now it's an instructor.
I think I said it before, it's just the don't quit and you get out of it what you put into it mentality, I was never one, and I'm still not the one that I love training. Okay. And when I train hard, and I like to train often. I'm not a big competitor, but I love competition training. I love being the dummy for all these other athletes. And I like to work hard, and I still do that here. I feel like I need to be the guy that trains harder than all the students and all the coaches. I need to have my cardio, my flexibility, all that needs to be on point because I need to be at the top, and be an example to everybody else. So I constantly train hard, train a lot without trying not to get hurt.
Matt, and has your family noticed like a huge change? Or they tell you like, Dad, we don't know you anymore? Or
no, I've been doing this for so long, Of course, my youngest daughter, that's all she's ever known is me going to jiu-jitsu. Daddy, what are you doing today? Or going to work, going to jiu-jitsu. What are you doing? Going to jiu-jitsu. That's all she knows. So it's not like she knows anything different. My life is jiu-jitsu.
For sure. And now your kids are you gonna train them, make sure they train?
Yeah, I had my daughter, my youngest in it's funny, I had my youngest in jiu-jitsu for a while. She got to a great white belt. She's like a little Chicken Little. Okay. She likes being here. She likes doing the warm-up. She's the best. She could say the creed like nobody's business, the student creed. Louder and stronger than anybody, but she doesn't like the whole wrestling part. She doesn't like people being on top of her. She doesn't like getting taken down. She hates all that. But she loves the exercise. She loves playing the games and being there with other kids and running around and all that. Just she's not one for that. Now, my oldest daughter, I have a 25-year-old stepdaughter. I've been raising her since she was a little kid. I got some mats for the house.
Okay.
And one day they came over and we started rolling. And, man, I got to get that girl in jiu-jitsu.
Man.
I got to get her. She wants to do it, and I'm going to start bringing her in because she's a beast. Okay. I didn't know she had it in her. She's a beast. she's gonna be insane, man. She's like maybe 5 foot, and she's gonna be good. I need to get her in there with like May and Mina and all them other girls.
For sure.
I can't wait.
Well, let me ask you.
I can't believe it just took so long for her to want to start doing it. I think she's got to that age now where she's like needing an outlet.
Well, let me ask you a question because I'm sure again you guys get this all the time. Is that you being a dad with daughters, is that girls are kind of hesitant when it comes to the grappling and the working out part. So, and you being a dad of girls who feels like that, what do you tell your youngest daughter of why she should keep going or about the grappling part? What do you tell her?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be something she's going to do as she gets a little bit older. Right now, I didn't want to force it upon her at this young of an age. She's only 6. There's plenty of time to learn jiu-jitsu. So because she was struggling with it so much and not liking the takedown, I didn't want to scare her away from it now because I know it's going to be a big part of her life later. But my oldest, man, she understands how effective jiu-jitsu is, and she's just ready to get on the mat and start training. Yeah. So I think every woman needs to know some jiu-jitsu. I mean, I'm not saying they all got to go out and end up being black belt world champions or anything like that, but there's so much self-defense that can be learned so quickly, so efficiently, that every woman needs to know it. I mean, everything from how to escape when someone grabs your hand to, you know, if you've got someone inside your guard, how they can submit them with just their t-shirt, you know, a loop choke with just their t-shirt or something. There's just so much simple stuff that every woman should know to defend themselves on the street from a predator. Yeah. 100%. And it gives them confidence too.
100%. And they get a good workout.
They get an amazing workout.
Yeah, it's pretty unique for this martial art, you know, that it was specifically built, you know, for Master Halo Gracie, or Grandmaster Halo Gracie. He was the smallest one in all of them, and designed Gracie Jiu-Jitsu to be the smallest opponent to beat the biggest opponent. And it's just a crazy lifestyle. And I agree with you. Like for my daughters, man, if Professor Dave said it perfect about his kids. He's like, my kids are gonna do jiu-jitsu. If they want to live in my house, they're gonna do jiu-jitsu.
My daughter's gonna do jiu-jitsu too. Yeah. There's a fine line, man. There's a fine line to making it. You know, they got to make it. It's got to be enjoyable to them. But they're gonna learn it. They're gonna learn it. Yeah.
So one kind of thing I want to dive in and pick your brain, you know, about is that since again you're a new school, the school's gonna eventually open back up, or eventually we're gonna start doing classes again like normal, and eventually you're gonna have this talk with students about competition, right? Where they're interested in competing, they want to. So if I'm the brand new white belt to you, Professor, and I'm like, hey, you know, I've been training here for 4 months to a year. You know, what would you tell a white belt or any belt about competition?
It's fun. It's fun. I like competition. I always say this, man. I like competition for the training aspect of it.
Okay. I
like training for competition. And if you're going to do competition, you have to train for the competition. It's not just doing your regular classes. You have to pick your cardio up. You have to pick up, you know, your drills. There's just more to it. You know, that's why we have competition class, you know, because it's different than just GB1, GB2, GB3. It's competition class, you know. And I've already got that, man. I've got guys that have been here 2 months, guys that have only been here a month, and they're doing really well. And they're just like, when are they going to do tournaments? I want to do tournaments. I'm like, whoa, settle down. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. You know, we need to do some competition training. Why don't you come to a couple competition classes? But man, I think everybody should do tournaments. I do, you know. Even if it's just to support the team, you know, or maybe you should do it just to push yourself, to see where you are, you know. I remember my first tournament, bro. I was so ready. I had lost all this weight. I was down to like 145 pounds. I was like,
Jesus,
feeling so good. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for like 8 months, and I ran the morning of the tournament. I'm fired up, dude. I went into that thing, and I think I got submitted. And at the time, I didn't know what it was, but I always go back to like what I think I got caught in. And it's funny, man, because you know my favorite move is the baseball bat choke, right?
Okay.
And I keep thinking back to that tournament. I'm almost positive that kid got me in a baseball bat choke because I was on top, and he's choking me, and I don't know what's going on. I'd never seen the baseball bat choke as a white belt.
Yeah.
I just remember almost going out, and I think back to that tournament all the time. And what's funny is now that's my favorite move, you know.
That's awesome. Now, a huge question that's going to come up to you, if it hasn't come up to you, is parents going to ask you if their kids should compete and what's the benefits of competing. So again, Professor, if I'm the parent and I have my son, little Tino here, and I said, Professor, you know, I'm interested about him competing, you know, what should I know? You know, what would that talk be like for me?
My answer is always yes. Always yes. Yes. I think they should compete. You know, because I think, again, the training aspect of it, teaches them to train hard, to work hard. And then I always tell my students, the hardest part about a tournament is stepping on the mat, right? That's the hardest part. It's to do it. So just that lesson right there, to build up the courage, the confidence to step on that mat is a lesson in itself. And then win or lose, those are both lessons. If you win, you got to be humble and take your victory, with grace. And then if you lose, you got to do the same thing. And with kids, that's hard sometimes. I mean, how many kids? I used to have a pretty big kids class. I was a coach in California, and the kids would do those tournaments, and I don't know how many kids I've had to hug the tears away from. I mean, it's like it's heartbreaking, but they're learning a lesson. They're learning a lesson. You win or lose, you learn. Okay, and that's a lesson. So if a parent comes to me, should my kid compete, or we're thinking about him competing? Yes, always yes. Let's train for it and let's do it. And win or lose, we'll do it again, and we'll do it again. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that for kids, competition is so valuable for them because it's very, at least in my opinion, it's very rare that children, deal with hardships at this magnitude and so life-changing for kids. And it's pretty crazy to see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what's great is to see a kid that's lost, maybe 3 tournaments in a row, but keeps coming. That's hard for a child, man.
Oh, absolutely.
It's super hard. In every tournament they cry, or but that they keep coming back. They keep coming back. Says a lot. Like inside that kid's growing every time. And then there's the kids that just dominate tournaments and just, they don't. Someday they'll experience defeat, but tournaments always, man. I'm a big fan of tournaments.
For sure. And I think it's very important too that for parents, because again, I'm not sure how you go about your academy, but for me, when parents ask me, I tell them no matter what, if they win or lose, still have them come back the next training and still keep going. Like there's never work to never be satisfied with it. It's huge lesson. Always,
man. Yeah, you're always getting better. Okay, win or lose, you're getting better. Win or lose, you're learning. That's it. That's life, right?
For sure.
That's transcends to life. You win or lose, you learn.
For sure.
So, and I think you learn more when you lose.
Yeah, for sure. And then if for some reason when you lose, you never forget. You'll forget the times you won.
Oh, yeah.
You'll never forget the times you lost.
Yeah. Man, like I said, I still think of that baseball bat choke I got submitted as a white belt. But yeah, there's several tournaments I've won that I don't remember what even happened. So yeah, that's for sure.
Awesome.
That is for sure, man.
Well, Professor, now we're going to go to what I was telling you earlier about the competition rounds.
Okay.
All right. So it's not as bad as competition rounds we do back in Phoenix.
Pay attention to the end of all the other podcasts.
So it's just simple little questions. Well, not really simple.
Do I need my Victor glasses?
There we go. So I'm just going to ask you some questions, right? And just on the top of your head, just answer them off. All righty?
All right.
Here we go. What is your favorite submission?
Baseball bat.
Okay. What is the worst submission you hate being caught in?
Man, I hate getting caught with the paper cutter.
Ooh.
I hate getting caught with that one.
Oh, man.
Yeah, just because it's such a basic freaking move.
What is Professor Mike's favorite guard to work?
Oh. We don't have a favorite guard to work. I guess just the closed guard.
Okay. And what's the guard that you hate dealing with?
Probably De La Hiva.
Oh, yeah. All righty. Now, Professor, what is Professor Mike's favorite cheat food? When you're not eating healthy and you're just going to go to the dark side a little bit, what's your favorite cheat food?
Oh, a bowl of cereal.
Oh, yeah. What's your favorite cereal?
It doesn't really matter, man. Apple Jacks or Captain Crunch, yeah.
All right. And last one.
You know, that wasn't around the house for a long time, but now I've got a new daughter, so the cereal's packed in the cabinets now. You know, yeah.
All right. And last question's a new one. Do you prefer gi or no gi, and why?
Oh, that's an easy one. No gi.
And why?
I'm just a smaller guy, and I like to be able to move around.
Okay.
I like the movement of no gi versus gi.
Okay.
I mean, I like gi, but no gi is definitely my favorite.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to. There's no grips.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Especially when I'm going through bigger guys.
All right. Well, you survived. See, that was easy.
That was easy, man. That was easy.
Well,
Fun,
Professor.
man. Thanks, bro.
No. Thank you, man. Man, before we leave here, is there anything you want to say? Definitely talk about when you're opening up. What's class going to be like?
That's it, man. You know, we're just super excited about opening this school. Can't wait to see everybody back on the mat. Remember that, you know, Gracie Barra is always safety first. And we're going to live by that. We're going to make sure our students are safe and protected here. And we're just excited to get back to it, man. Get back to training hard, seeing each other. I think the hardest part's going to be seeing each other and not giving each other high fives and hugs, you know?
Yeah.
That's something we're going to have to learn. But we're excited to be back. We're excited to grow this school and get Gracie Barra out here in this side of town, growing and striving and making a presence at the tournaments too.
That's awesome. So if I'm an Avondale student, how do I sign up for your classes?
Man, you could sign up. You could just go to our website,
Okay.
graciebarra.com/Avondale-AZ, or give us a call, 480-850-0048.
Awesome. Okay, Professor. Well, man, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I know you just got done with Baja Fit, so I'm pretty sure
Oh, yeah, 623. I said wrong area code, 623-850-0048. Anyway.
Well, Professor, I know you just got done with Baja Fit, man, so I know you're probably hungry. A nap's probably in order.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Professor, for doing this, man. Let's do it again.
I appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Thanks for thinking of me.
Thank you.
Hey, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.